Good morning.
Morning.
Nice to see such a hall of flowers, which you are today. Before we get started with the celebration today, I'd just like to say a few words. And to start off, great congratulations to our Sangha elder, Tinkan. I believe today's a special day for you, or actually yesterday. Yeah, why is it so special?
Well, 49 years ago, I went into AA after my mother died, a terrible death of alcoholism. And so it's 49 years. I was you do it for a noble reason. I was scared.
Yeah.
It happened to me.
I think that's sometimes how scaredness shows up, or how nobleness shows up as scared. Well, congratulations. We're so honored to have you as an elder in our Sangha and the wisdom that you gained from that time to today is, in service of us all. So thank you very much. I also realized we share an anniversary, April 8th, it was his birthday. You stopped drinking and I stopped growing hair. Well, I grow hair, but I take it off on a regular basis. So it's my 27th anniversary since my ordination. And you know that thing about when you turn 27? Oh, feel that. I really do. Anyway, if you're a Eugenian, probably Saturn in retrograde motion and those kind of things are in your mind. But I do feel in some way, after 27 years, I'm maybe just finally getting a sense of what this life is like, thanks to your patience. So this morning, I'd like to speak a little bit about the Buddha's birthday. And almost always when we talk about the Buddha's birthday, here at Buddha Temple or in the Sutra record or any place, is almost always completely about Shakyamuni Buddha. And there is almost nothing about his mother, Mahamaya. In the normal sutra record, there will be, like a paragraph of 3 or 4 sentences that says something like, as the Buddha was preparing to descend from the Tushita heaven, which is where the Buddha lived before he took birth in this realm, that he entered the womb of Lady Maya, and her whole body became luminous. That's about what you get, which is beautiful. But compared to the many, 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 many pages about the Buddha, it always has struck me as being a little bit off. And so I've thought about that for years and haven't done much about it. But thanks to the teaching of our head student this term, Shanae, who has been teaching us about the flower ornament sutra, or the flower garland sutra, which she's referred to it a few times as being big. I'll show it to you here in a second because it's very big. As I was looking again for some account of Mahamaya, I found it here in the flower ornament scripture. This scripture gets, I don't know if it's a bad reputation. I would say it's more like a scary reputation for being so massive that no one would dare to really delve into it. It takes a special kind of person, a special kind of mind to be able to work with something this extensive, just to give you a sense. I'll let you hear in a second here. The print is little. Those of you at our retreat had to bear with me as I tried to read this in candlelight and change tenses partway through, and I was trying to leave some things out and other things in, so also thank you for your patience. I think that this sutra, largely the reason that people do not learn to encounter it is because they don't understand what it's about. We don't know about flowers. We don't know that flowers are continuous and they fill up the whole world. And this flower garland sutra is like that. It is a flower which begets a flower, which begets a flower, which begets a flower, which begets a flower, and there's only flowers everywhere. You can see that in a practical sense if you ever plant poppies. Anyone plant poppies before? You did it on purpose, and then you're like, why did I do that? Pretty soon, everything's poppies, right? Yeah. Wonderful. Well, poppies are a good example of the flower garland scripture. Over the past few days while we were in retreat, I've been thinking that flowers are like the imagination of plants. Shanae's been teaching us about the importance of imagination, how so often we just stay in a box of what we have already decided is reality. And the Buddha Dharma is encouraging us to step beyond our normal habits, our normal way of perceiving the world, and to take a chance. And flowers are a big chance. You know, many years ago, when I was still teaching high school, one of the things that we talked about, I had such a cool job, and said a lot. I got to talk about things like death with my students. I got to talk about things like, when did humans first bury each other? Like purposely do that? We don't know, but we have some hints. We have graves that are tens of thousands of years old. We're talking 60, 70, 80,000 years old. And you know the oldest ones that they found? What is similar among all of them? Flower pollen. What? Flower pollen. That as we struggle to come to terms with the difficulty of a human life, to the presence and the absence of beings that we love, flower, the imagination of plants, teaching us. And so not only in those times of sorrow, but also in times of celebration and joy, flowers are brought forward as an offering, as a celebration, like today. Flowers upon flowers for our baby Buddha. Now there's a familiar story, which I've told many times in this hall, about Mahamaya receiving the Buddha in her womb. She has a dream. She goes up to the Tushita heaven, which is said where the Bodhisattva Shakyamuni lived before he came into this world. And in that dream, there was a great white elephant that circled her 3 times and then entered her side. And as she awoke, she knew that this was an omen that she was with child. And she spoke with her husband, the king, Suddhodana, and they both rejoiced. And that she carried the baby for 10 months, as is normal. Way too short. Those of you who have been through pregnancy or around pregnancy in any way, that like one line, oh yeah, she just did that. It's kind of amazing that that's what's in the Sutra record, right? Okay, so she just did that. She carried the Buddha to term. And then we come to the story where it's time for her birth, and she's traveling back to her hometown, and she's leaving Kapilavastu, and she's traveling, and there's a park, Lumbini Park. And Lumbini Park is a place where the Shakya tribe would go to bathe and to take some relaxation. So she decides to stop there, and she bathes in one of the bathing pools. And as she comes out of the bathing pool, it said that she reaches for the branch of a tree, a sal tree. The tree was beautiful flowers on this tree, and the tree bends down a branch, and she grabs it, and then Shakyamuni Buddha emerges. Sometimes the story says that it emerges from her side, but in the oldest record, there's no such record. The baby Buddha stands. It's a very interesting image. Maya is standing, the baby is standing. And the baby takes 7 steps in each of the 4 directions and returns to the center, and then does the Saturday Night Fever pose. Points to the heavens, points to the earth, and says, above and below, I alone am the honored one. And so this is oftentimes what we talk about when we talk about the flower festival. But today, I want to give you a little flavor of this flower ornament sutra way of treating this. In the Flower Ornament Sutra, there is a chapter called Entering the Realm of Reality, in which a bodhisattva named Sudana, you like to? I don't like that. And in this story, Suddhodana travels to many teachers. He's sent by Manjushri, the Bodhisattva of wisdom. He's talking with Manjushri and saying, I want to learn to be a complete Bodhisattva. I want to take on the path to Buddhahood. And Manjushri says to Suddhodana, says, you must go visit teachers. It's not just something I can teach you. You must go to many people. You must visit many flowers of this way to be able to learn of the quality of awakening. And so he visits in the end 53 teachers. And they're all kinds of beings. Some are goddesses, some are monks, some are artisans. And some of them talk to him for quite a long time. One of the artisans says, I have nothing to teach you, go to my assistant. So there's all kinds of ways that these beings teach Suddhodana. And then the 41st person that he visits is Lady Maya. Let me just give you a sense of what she says to him. She says, I have attained an enlightening liberation, magical manifestation of knowledge of great vows. Imbued with this liberation, I am the mother of all enlightening beings in their final existence, in all the worlds, in this world ocean, where Buddha's miraculous manifestation of birth as an enlightening being in the final existence takes place. All those enlightening beings grow in my belly and come forth from my right side. So here too, in this great city of Kapilavastu, as wife of the king Suddhodana, I became the mother of the enlightening being Siddhartha by the great inconceivable miracle of the birth of an enlightening being. At that time, I was in the house of the king Suddhodana, and when the time of the enlightening being's descent from the heaven of contentment had arrived, from every pore the enlightening being emanated as many rays of light as atoms in untold Buddha lands, arrayed with the qualities of the birth of all enlightening beings, known as the light originating from the qualities of birth of all Buddhas. Those rays of light illumined the whole world, then descended on my body and entered into every pore of my body, beginning with my head. When those rays of light of the enlightening being entered my body outreached all worlds, and my belly became as vast as space, and did not yet go beyond the human physical size. The celestial manifestations of the enlightening beings abode in the womb everywhere in the 10 directions, all appeared in my body. And please don't worry if you couldn't hold on to anything I just said. That's the point. I'll say that again. Don't worry if you couldn't hold on to anything I just said. That's the point. Flower after flower after flower. But there's some things that stand out. Her belly encompassed everything, and yet was exactly the same size. The sutra goes on, and I won't read everything there because it goes on at quite a length. But basically what happens is, so the Buddha arrives in her womb, and then guess what? All Buddhas arrive in her womb. And then guess what? The Buddhas invite their friends, the Bodhisattvas. And guess what? The Bodhisattvas, they invite their friends, all the celestial beings who want to hear the Dharma. And pretty soon the whole assembly of all the worlds are there in Maya's belly. And she says, of course it was all there. And yet my belly was exactly the same size and was indeed the belly of flesh, a human belly. Now, I know some people are allergic to this kind of thing, and I apologize, I'll be done soon. But if you're not, I encourage you to let your own imagination flower. To see that there's another possibility about how you regard life. Here, that's what it took for Mahamaya to gestate the Buddha. her insistence that her belly did not get bigger and that it was nothing other than a human belly is very important. How we always are setting aside materiality and spaciousness. It's a very abstract thing to say, I realize. But I want you to think about it in concrete terms. What do you say to yourself? If I could just get this out of the way, then I could do what I want. If I could just get this out of the way, then there would be space, right? Then there would be openness. Oh, but we all just long for openness, don't we? Yeah. But we think that openness is about getting something out of the way. And Mahamaya does exactly the opposite. Space is filled with everything. Flower upon flower upon flower. Now, what can we learn from this? I'm sure much more than what I have gleaned. But I would share with you my sense. Anything that we do fully requires the whole cosmos. I'll say that again. Anything we do fully requires the whole cosmos. And this is Mahamaya's knowledge or her wisdom. Because she doesn't think, oh, I just do things. I just birthed the Buddha. She knows that everything is involved in that birthing. And to give birth, literally or metaphorically, to give birth to new life, to something that wasn't there before, takes an unimaginable commitment. To really do something fully, not to say get it out of the way, get this out of the way, get that out of the way, but to commit. Mothers are manifestors, but not the kind of manifestation that wants to control the whole world, but has to receive the whole world to be able to manifest. This is really magical, and we live in that world all the time, you and I. It's why we're here. You had no entry into this world if it was not for a womb, at least for now. We might get some other kinds of technology, which is a little scary. But, you know, maybe those wombs will function as well. It's hard for us to say. I guess I would end by saying this. A great vow, such as the Bodhisattva made, that carried him through successive lives and to this heaven of contentment. And then, this is very interesting, I don't think it's that common. You know, you see a bodhisattva going what looks like backwards, coming back to this realm, right? The Buddha goes all the way to the highest realm of the heavens and then takes birth here on earth. That was according to his vow. But for a great vow to be manifest, it takes a great vow. The great vow of Mahamaya to be the receptive, to be the dark womb which could receive that vow, is the only way that the Buddha could be manifested. I ask you to take that into your life as we celebrate today. First of all, to celebrate with full commitment, which we'll do here in a moment. It's not complicated. And then to enjoy some rice pudding that the cooks are feverishly making right now. I gave them a recipe. I'm not sure if it was good. I just told them what to do. You know, this is a horrible thing about being an abbot. You might pick up the habit of just pretending like you know things. Never happened. So we'll enjoy the rice pudding afterwards, and then the Fellowship of Flowers, which is what this day is about. And then as you leave here today, I'd invite you to consider the imagination of the sky, which visits us as rain, and the imagination of plants that visits us as flowers, and then the imagination of your own heart, which has the capacity to carry you into the next stages of your commitment to this life and to making it the best that it can be. So I'll leave now for a couple minutes to change my robe, and the hall will be arranged. This is a good time to go to the restroom. Get started. The ceremony itself is a recitation of the Prajna Paramita, Mahanya Haramita Shingyo, and then we do a call and a response chanting, which will be obvious when we get to it, and then we chant the mantra of Shakyamuni Buddha as we bathe his body, which is the traditional thing. So when that happens, rather than coming in two lines like we normally do when we offer incense, the idea is to kind of make a circle. So just come forward. You'll be a little shy. You know, there's a lot of people in here, so you'll feel like, oh, I don't want to cramp anybody. If you've ever been on a subway, say in like Tokyo or any place, that's the place I know subway. Any place that has a subway, get a little more like that. Yeah, than a little bit like the respectful distance of Eugene, which is like 8 feet or something. So just come in a little bit closer, you know, just a pour, you know, if you're adult, maybe 1 pour. If you're a kid, somewhere between 2 and 7, but maybe more than 7. And you get to decide whether you're a kid or an adult. And it takes a little while to do that. And then after we finish, then there's a dedication. swinging fortunate earlobes, taking pleasure in heavenly delights. Putai, the fat-bellied Buddha, cannot compare to Lady Maya. For him, not yet holdable, this world, flowering, brilliant light, fragrance, ephemeral, pulling gently, mine. Bodhisattvas at every step require embrace. Dark sky, mother, wisdom, womb, all pebbles tossed in a stone well. Wah! 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 Now he shows up, swaggering 7 steps, this way and that, to capture our hearts.
For body of the Dharma world, ever leaving the source, by the power of your great compassionate vow, you appear throughout all time. Gazing up, we humbly pray for the pure light of your compassion and wisdom. Here on this day, April 9th, 2023, At this temple, Eugene Kidenzan Shobo Butsu Genji, we directly meet the day of birth of our great benefactor and founder of the doctrine, the original teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. We have made offerings of incense, flowers, lights, sweet water, cakes, and tea. Respectfully gathering the present pure assembly, we bathe the pure body of the Buddha and recite the heart of great perfect wisdom sutra. We reverently offer the merit so that we may repay the Buddha's compassionate blessing. The following is humbly considered. Like the auspicious appearance of the Dhamma flower, long moving the fragrant air of wisdom that permeates the myriad worlds, sharing the light universally throughout the myriad heavens. This is our refuge and practice. At the end of 3 incalculable eons in your final body, its great marks of 48 adornments, you first spoke, above and below the heavens, I am the sole honored one. From the 300 assemblies of your final rebirth to the countless assemblies down through the ages, far and wide you poured out your compassion. For over 2,500 years, the resonance of your great teachings has penetrated the heart of this world. We humbly pray that the light from between Buddha's eyebrows shall benefit coming times and that his deeds may profit countless beings. May the heart lotus of the myriad worlds open and spread throughout all the Dharma lands, in acceptance of the benevolence of our original teacher, the Tathagata, proclaimed on April 9th, 2023 by Bhikkhu Ejo, abbot of Eugene Kidenzan Shobo Butsu Genji, who has inherited the teachings, humbly is stated. Heart of great perfect wisdom sutra. Practicing clearly saw that its sovereignty and thus relieved of suffering. Shakyamuni form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form itself is emptiness. Emptiness itself forms sensations, perceptions, formations, and consciousness are also like this. All dharmas are marked by emptiness. They neither arise nor cease, are neither defiled nor pure, neither neither increase nor decrease, therefore given emptiness, there are no more sensations, perceptions, formations, or consciousness, no eye, ear, no tongue, body, or mind, no sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, or context of mind, no realm of sight, and so forth, down to no realm of mind consciousness. There is neither ignorance nor extinction of ignorance, and so forth, down to neither old age and death nor extinction of old age and death, no suffering, no cause, no cessation, no act, no knowledge, and no attainment, with nothing to attain a bodhisattva, realize Prajna Paramita, and thus the mind is without interest, there is no fear for beyond all imperfect views, one realizes nirvana, all Buddhas of past, present, and future rely on Prajna Paramita, and thereby attain unsurpassably perfect enlightenment. Therefore know the Prajna Paramita as the great miraculous mantra, the great bright mantra, the supreme mantra, the ineffable mantra, which removes all suffering and is true, not false. Therefore we proclaim the Prajna Paramita mantra, the mantra that says Yate Yate Para Yate Parsam Yate Bodhisattva. Deeply to the great holy state, bowing deeply to the great holy state, fully honored above and below the heavens, fully honored above and below the heavens. We now offer this water of merit. We now offer this water of merit. Shakyamuni Buddha mantra. Having chanted the heart of great perfect wisdom sutra, and having bathed the pure body of the Buddha, we reverently offer the marriage to great benefactor and founder of the doctrine, the original teacher Shakyamuni Buddha, who was born into the world on this day. May we repay his compassionate blessing. Oh,
Congratulations!